On Tuesday, during a hearing, Senator Ted Cruz was able to ask the Assistant Director of the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Instigation, some questions that all of us would like some answers to.
How many FBI agents or confidential informants actively participated in the events of January 6th?
Sir, I'm sure you can appreciate that I can't go into the specifics of sources and methods.
Did any FBI agents or confidential informants actively participate in the events of January 6th? Yes or no?
Sir, I can't answer that.
Did any FBI agents or confidential informants commit crimes of violence on January 6th?
I can't answer that, sir.
Did any FBI agents or FBI informants actively encourage and incite crimes of violence on January 6th?
Sir, I can't answer that.
Notice that she said she can't answer those questions. Not that the answers are no, or that she didn't know the answers. She certainly does, but by answering them in an open hearing like that, it would reveal what the alphabet agencies call sources and methods, which is something that they only do in closed sessions. Her answers reminded me of those of William Colby, the former CIA director, during the church hearings when he was asked about Operation Mockingbird and whether or not the CIA employs various supposed journalists at newspapers and television stations in order to act as gatekeepers and propagandists.
Do you have any people paid by the CIA who are working for television networks?
This, I think, gets into the kind of getting into the details, Mr. Chairman, that I'd like to get into in executive session.
Thankfully, Ted Cruz has been watching Tucker Carlson because he also asked the assistant FBI director about Ray Epps.
Ms. Sadburn, who is Ray Epps?
I'm aware of the individual, sir. I don't have the specific background to him.
Well, there are a lot of people who are understandably very concerned about Mr. Epps. On the night of January 5th, 2021, Epps wandered around the crowd that had gathered, and there's video out there of him chanting, "Tomorrow, we need to get into the Capitol, into the Capitol." This was strange behavior, so strange that the crowd began chanting, "Fed, Fed, 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 Fed." Ms. Sandburn, was Ray Epps a Fed?
Sir, I cannot answer that question.
After the hearing, Ray Epps' name was trending on Twitter, so the big tech giant had to editorialize and claim that it was because of an unfounded conspiracy theory. Then Democrats, including Congressman Adam Kinzinger, who I guess technically is a registered Republican, but he's about as Republican as Liz Cheney, started up a big tweet storm defending Ray Epps. Yes, the same guy who was captured on video the night before telling the protesters that they should break into the Capitol, stunning them, causing them to start chanting that he was a Fed. The same guy who then mysteriously showed up right at the barricade outside of the Capitol and then was captured on video by Elijah Schaffer at the Blaze, whispering into one of the other protesters' ear 2 seconds before the crowd then charged the police and then pushed the barricade down and breached the Capitol grounds. Which is interesting because the Democrats want anybody who was even in D.C. to listen to President Trump's speech that day, even if they didn't go to the Capitol grounds, let alone go into the Capitol building itself. They want them deplatformed from social media, fired from their job, banned from Airbnb and Uber. But Ray Epps did nothing wrong. I'm no lawyer, but it certainly does appear that he violated the law by inciting a riot. In fact, 18 U.S. Code 2101 reads, "Whoever travels in interstate or foreign commerce or uses any facility of interstate or foreign commerce, including but not limited to the mail, telegraph, telephone, radio, or television, with intent to incite a riot or to organize, promote, encourage, participate in, or carry on a riot, is in violation of the law." Then the January 6th committee, which has an official verified Twitter account like all government agencies, started tweeting in defense of Mr. Epps, saying that they actually have interviewed him and he's not an FBI agent or an informant and he didn't commit any crimes. But President Trump giving a speech that day and asking people to, quote, peacefully march to the Capitol is incitement. And after the January 6th Kangaroo Committee wraps up their witch hunt, which probably won't be for another year, they most likely will recommend to the Justice Department a criminal referral for President Trump. The DOJ probably won't actually indict him, but who knows how far the Marxists will actually go. Assuming that they won't, the primary purpose of the criminal referral will be to generate headlines that the January 6th committee has concluded their investigation and they have found out that President Trump was behind it all. It's interesting that Ted Cruz and anybody asking these kinds of questions about FBI operatives or informants being involved in the incident that day, that's spreading conspiracy theories.
The Fox propaganda network's Tucker Carlson pushing a conspiracy with no legitimate proof that the FBI organized the January 6th Capitol attack.
But believing that the Republicans and President Trump secretly planned the riot, that's trying to get to the truth. Just a friendly reminder, FBI informant Ahmad Salam would have been charged as a co-conspirator in the 1993 World Trade Center bombing if he hadn't secretly recorded his conversations with his FBI handlers, which proved that they were using him as an asset in order to infiltrate the terrorist group and monitor their activities. And then the FBI just made a big mistake and didn't stop the bombing from happening. Look it up, the FBI was going to burn their informant and he would have went to prison as literally one of the terrorists if he hadn't suspected what was going to happen and then secretly recorded his conversations, thus proving that he was actually an informant and not one of the conspirators. Perhaps the only reasonable explanation other than Ray Epps being an FBI operative himself is that he's the dupe that the FBI operatives found and encouraged to incite the mob to do what they did. I don't know how else you'd describe what it is that he's doing here. He certainly isn't talking about the weather. It's important to point out that the supposed plot to kidnap the governor of Michigan was also concocted by the FBI and really just an entrapment scheme in order to generate headlines about a non-existent threat. A threat that the Federal Bureau of Instigation created themselves. If you really wanted to go down the rabbit hole, you could look into the fake explosives that the FBI was supposed to give the 1993 World Trade Center bombing terrorists through their informant, Ahmad Salam, so that the bomb wouldn't actually go off, but that's a whole other story.
It's called a false flag attack.
I'm surprised that Ted Cruz actually had the guts to go there. He almost redeemed himself after referring to the riot at the Capitol on January 6th numerous times as a terrorist attack. We're all counting on you now, Peter Doocy, to ask old Joe if he ever holds another press conference again about Ray Epps. Because after the way he responded to being told, "Let's go, Brandon," I can only imagine the viral gift old Joe's gonna give us when asked a question about what really happened on January 6th.
Let's go, Brandon. I agree.
That's right. And order your Let's Go Brandon shirts from my online store at markdice.com or click the link in the description below. Or maybe you prefer my F. Joe Biden, Wanna Buy a Vowel shirt, and Arrest Dr. Fauci shirt, or any of my awesome designs. All available in a t-shirt, long sleeve, and a hoodie, and a whole bunch of different colors as well. So head on over to markdice.com or click the link in the description below and check them out.